On the 3rd of September 2010, UPS Flight 6 departed Dubai International Airport at 6:51 p.m. local time, bound for Cologne, Germany. The Boeing 747-400F carried 111,000 kilograms of cargo, including consumer electronics destined for European markets. Captain Doug Lamp, 48 years old, an American with over 11,000 flight hours, and First Officer Matthew Bell, 38 years old, a British pilot, expected a routine overnight cargo run. But 22 minutes after takeoff, at precisely 7:13 p.m., a fire warning alarm sounded in the cockpit. That alarm would reveal catastrophic flaws in how we transport everyday items through the sky. According to the General Civil Aviation Authority investigation report, the first indication of trouble came when the crew received a fire warning for the main deck cargo compartment while cruising at 32,000 feet. Captain Lampa's voice, preserved in the cockpit voice recorder transcripts, immediately declared an emergency. The crew initiated what should have been a textbook response. They pulled the fire suppression handle and began an emergency descent toward Dubai. But here is where the nightmare truly began. Within 3 minutes of that first alarm, thick smoke had filled the entire upper deck of the aircraft. The GCAA report states that visibility became so poor that neither pilot could read their instruments. Now, you might think that modern aircraft are equipped to handle fires. After all, cargo planes have been flying for decades. But investigators discovered something the aviation industry had been quietly worried about for years. The fire originated in a cargo pallet containing thousands of lithium batteries. According to the official investigation, these were not special industrial batteries. They were the same type found in mobile phones, laptops, and countless other devices we use daily. The Federal Aviation Administration had actually received multiple incident reports about lithium battery fires in the years leading up to this crash, but comprehensive regulations had not been implemented. The technical details revealed in the investigation are genuinely terrifying. Lithium batteries, when they catch fire, burn at temperatures exceeding 500 degrees Celsius. Traditional halon fire suppression systems, which had been the standard in aviation for decades, simply cannot extinguish a lithium battery fire. According to Boeing's own testing, documented in Federal Aviation Administration reports, once one battery cell goes into thermal runaway, it creates a chain reaction. The heat from one burning cell ignites the next and the next, creating what investigators call a cascading failure. This gets worse. As Captain Lamp struggled to control the aircraft, another catastrophic failure occurred. The crew oxygen system, their lifeline in a smoke-filled cockpit, stopped working. The GCAA investigation determined that this fire had likely damaged the crew oxygen system supply line. First Officer Bell, according to the cockpit voice recorder, attempted to use the emergency oxygen mask but reported he could not maintain consciousness. The transcript shows him saying, "I can't get my mask on," before his communication ceased. Captain Lamp was now alone, unable to see his instruments, breathing toxic smoke, trying to fly a 400-ton aircraft back to Dubai. The Bahrain air traffic control transcripts, released as part of the investigation, reveal the desperate situation. Controllers offered Lampe a closer airport in Sharjah, just minutes away, but Lampe, unable to see anything except through the side windows, could not make the necessary turns. He transmitted, according to the official record, that he was flying by windows and could not see his primary flight instruments. Think about that for a moment. A massive cargo jet flying at night with the pilot only able to navigate by looking out the side window. At 7:41 p.m., just 28 minutes after the first fire warning, UPS Flight 6 crashed in an unpopulated area near Emirates Road, between Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Both pilots were killed on impact. The GCAA final report, published in July 2013, identified the lithium batteries as the source of the fire and cited inadequate fire suppression capabilities as a contributing factor. But this was not an isolated incident, and that is what makes this story even more disturbing. 3 years later, on the 14th of August 2013, another UPS cargo plane crashed, this time in Birmingham, Alabama. UPS Flight 1354, an Airbus A300, was approaching Birmingham Shuttlesworth International Airport in the pre-dawn darkness. Captain Saria Beale Jr., 58 years old, and First Officer Shanda Fanning, 37, were coming to the end of what the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, called a challenging duty period. The NTSB investigation report reveals that the crew had been on duty since the previous evening. Now here is where it gets interesting. Cargo pilots often fly what is called the backside of the clock, working through the night when our circadian rhythms naturally make us least alert. This is a classic fatigue risk. The crash occurred at 4:47 a.m. local time, statistically the most dangerous time for human performance according to NASA fatigue studies cited in the NTSB report. The crew was conducting a non-precision approach to runway 18. For those unfamiliar with aviation terminology, this means they did not have the electronic guidance systems that help pilots stay perfectly aligned with the runway. According to the NTSB findings, the approach became unstabilized. The aircraft was descending too quickly and was not properly configured for landing. The cockpit voice recorder captured the ground proximity warning system alerts sink rate, followed by pull up, but it was too late. The aircraft struck trees and terrain approximately 1 mile short of the runway. The NTSB investigation uncovered systemic issues within cargo operations that nobody wanted to talk about publicly. Unlike passenger airlines, which have strict duty time regulations, cargo operations had different standards. The Independent Pilots Association, which represents UPS pilots, had actually filed complaints with the FAA about fatigue issues before the Birmingham crash. According to documents obtained through Freedom of Information Act requests, pilots reported regularly flying while exhausted, with some describing falling asleep during critical phases of flight. But wait, there's more to this story. After the Dubai crash, investigators worldwide began examining lithium battery shipments more closely. The International Civil Aviation Organization revealed that between 2010 and 2016, there were more than 40 documented incidents of lithium battery fires or smoke events on aircraft. Many of these incidents occurred on passenger flights, not just cargo planes. In March 2016, the International Civil Aviation Organization issued a complete ban on shipping lithium-ion batteries as cargo on passenger aircraft. The changes implemented after these crashes were sweeping. According to Federal Aviation Administration regulations published in 2016, lithium batteries must now be shipped at no more than 30% charge when transported by air. Cargo aircraft are required to have enhanced fire suppression systems specifically designed to handle lithium battery fires. The regulations also mandate that lithium battery shipments be clearly marked and loaded in compartments with active fire suppression. For the pilots, new fatigue management rules were implemented. The Federal Aviation Administration's Part 117 regulations, though initially written for passenger operations, were extended to include cargo pilots after sustained pressure from pilot unions and safety advocates. These rules limit flight time and require specific rest periods based on the time of day and the number of time zones crossed. What is particularly sobering about these tragedies is that the warning signs were there all along. A 2009 FAA study, conducted before both crashes, had identified lithium batteries as a significant fire risk. The study recommended immediate action to improve fire suppression capabilities. United Parcel Service's own safety department had reportedly raised concerns about hazardous materials handling, according to testimony given during congressional hearings after the crashes. The human cost extends beyond the 4 pilots who died. Captain Doug Lamp left behind a wife and daughter. First Officer Matthew Bell had recently married, Captain Beale was a grandfather, and First Officer Fanning was the single mother of a young son. Their families, in statements to investigators and the media, consistently asked why known risks were not addressed before lives were lost. I kid you not, the investigation files contain some genuinely shocking revelations about industry practices. Documents show that shipping companies were aware that customers often mislabeled hazardous materials to avoid higher shipping costs. Lithium batteries were frequently declared as general electronics or computer parts. The General Civil Aviation Authority investigation of Flight 6 found that the shipment manifest did not accurately reflect the number of batteries on board. The technical improvements made to cargo aircraft after these crashes are substantial. Boeing and Airbus now install fire containment covers that can withstand lithium battery fires for up to 6 hours. Manufacturer specifications say these covers maintain temperatures below critical thresholds, even with multiple batteries and thermal runaway. New smoke evacuation systems can clear a cockpit in under 2 minutes, giving crews a fighting chance to land safely. But have we done enough? According to the Federal Aviation Administration's own data, there were 225 air cargo incidents involving smoke, fire, or extreme heat from 2006 to 2021. While none resulted in crashes like United Parcel Service Flight 6 and United Parcel Service Flight 1354, the frequency suggests the risk remains. The Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration reports that lithium battery shipments have increased by 300% since 2013, even with new regulations in place. The International Air Transport Association now requires special training for anyone handling lithium battery shipments. This dangerous goods regulations manual, updated annually, contains over 50 pages specifically about battery transportation. Shippers must complete detailed declarations, and packages undergo random inspections. Airlines can face fines exceeding $1 million for improperly transported dangerous goods. What makes these crashes particularly tragic is that they were preventable. Captain Chesley Sullenberger, the pilot famous for landing U.S. Airways Flight 1549 on the Hudson River, testified before Congress about cargo safety after the United Parcel Service crashes. He stated that the aviation industry had normalized deviance, accepting increasing levels of risk because nothing bad had happened yet. His testimony called for treating cargo pilots with the same safety priority as passenger pilots. The aftermath of these crashes also revealed a disturbing disparity in how cargo and passenger aviation are regulated. Passenger aircraft were required to have reinforced cockpit doors after September 11th. Passenger planes had enhanced smoke detection systems, and cargo planes often did not. A Massachusetts Institute of Technology study commissioned after the crashes estimated that implementing passenger-level safety standards in cargo operations would cost the industry approximately $400 million annually, a fraction of the major carriers' profits. Today, when you ship a package containing electronics, it goes through multiple screening processes that did not exist before these crashes. X-ray machines specifically calibrated to detect battery density scan packages. Thermal imaging can identify batteries already in thermal distress. According to United Parcel Service current safety protocols, suspicious packages are placed in fire containment bags that can withstand 1,000-degree temperatures. The pilots who fly cargo today operate under fundamentally different conditions than those who died in Dubai and Birmingham. Fatigue risk management systems mandated by the Federal Aviation Administration use scientific models to predict when pilots are most at risk of errors. Airlines must demonstrate that their scheduling practices keep fatigue risk below acceptable thresholds. Pilots can now refuse assignments if they are too tired to fly safely, a protection that did not exist before these crashes. Fatigue management is now a central part of operational safety. We do not know exactly what Captain Lampe's final moments were like, but the cockpit voice recorder captured enough to understand his heroism. Even as smoke filled his lungs, he continued trying to save the aircraft. He managed to avoid populated areas, potentially saving hundreds of lives on the ground. The General Civil Aviation Authority report notes that despite complete instrument failure and severe smoke inhalation, Lampe maintained some control of the aircraft until the final seconds. Similarly, the crew of Flight 1554, while making ultimately fatal errors, were victims of a system that pushed human endurance beyond safe limits. The NTSB found no evidence of negligence or recklessness, only 2 experienced pilots operating at the edge of exhaustion in challenging conditions. Their crash prompted the largest review of cargo pilot scheduling practices in aviation history. The lithium battery problem has not gone away, it has evolved. According to the International Coordinating Council of Aerospace Industries Associations, new battery technologies like lithium metal and solid-state batteries pose different fire risks that current suppression systems might not handle. The FAA continues testing these new technologies and publishes regular safety alerts as risks are identified. So what do we make of all this? These were not acts of God or unforeseeable accidents. They were preventable tragedies that occurred because the aviation industry, regulators, and shipping companies collectively decided that the risk was acceptable. It took 4 deaths, 2 destroyed aircraft, and millions in investigation costs to implement changes that could have been made proactively. The next time you see that warning label about lithium batteries on a shipping box, remember it is there because of Captain Lampe, First Officer Bell, Captain Beale, and First Officer Fanning. Their deaths forced an industry to confront uncomfortable truths about profit versus safety. The question now is whether we will remember these lessons when the next new technology poses risks we do not fully understand yet. If you found this investigation revealing, subscribe for more deep dives into aviation mysteries and disasters. What is your take on the balance between commercial efficiency and safety? Should cargo pilots have the same protections as passenger pilots from day one? Or were these crashes necessary wake-up calls? Share your thoughts below, and I will see you in the next video.